Hi there, beautiful souls watching. Thank you. I'm Gabrielle, retired medium in Germany, and I like to share some of my otherworldly experiences and insights. So, this one is about history and calendars. Sounds a bit weird, I know. I was never interested in history, found it very boring in school to learn by heart numbers of years when this king lived and that king lived, and it had no connection to me. So I was never interested in history the usual or the normal way, and I always thought it's more of a man's territory because they are very much more into history and the battlefields and all this war strategy or whatever, or to understand the political background. So history was never my thing. Funny thing that I'm talking about history now. But it happened to me that after my mediumship trainment, I was led more or less by them to look differently upon some of the so called history facts. And I was always interested in Egypt and the pyramids, and I knew or remembered vaguely that we were taught a little bit about that in school, but not the real thing about the pyramids. I got the first real impression of the pyramids when I was at a public demonstration of mediumship, giving messages to the public. And there was this guy who got a message from two extraterrestrials standing beside the pyramid in Giza. And the pyramids looked not like with the restored casing stones of white stone. There are some pictures in the internet that show how it would have looked like in the ancient days, because the casing stones in white stone are missing now. But it wasn't that glow of the sunlight being reflected from the white casing stones on the pyramids. It was as if the pyramid itself was some kind of energy machine, and there was energy produced in there, and I could see the energy as kind of white light, and there was a beam coming out of the top of the pyramid going into the cosmos. And these two guys standing beside. So I understood, wow, the pyramids are something different. There are neither tombs nor ancient buildings. They are kind of power plants. And I also got that they are for communication, and the energy can be used for healing and for many other purposes. So I got that different point of view towards the pyramids. And when I started to look into the pyramids, of course, I came across Graham Hancock, and I read The Fingerprints of the Gods. Don't remember very much from this book. The only thing that I remember reading that book was that some kind of fire or flame was ignited inside of myself, and I felt some a very, very strong curiosity, because I got the feeling he's right with a lot of things that he is saying and that he found out. And then I found, of course, Robert Schoch, who looked as a geologist at the bedrock and the erosion on the bedrock around the Sphinx. And it's clear as day to me now, with different eyes looking upon that, that this kind of erosion that's vertical on the sand, the bedrock around the Sphinx, that can only come from heavy rain, from water from above. And the Egyptologists always used to say, well, at some time it was all underwater, and there's this heavy wind with the sand always going like a blaster, and so these vertical erosion marks on the Sphinx may come from that, but the bedrock surrounding the Sphinx, where it was carved out from, showed the horizontal erosion marks. And if you go back with the computer weather program, they can do that today and simulate how was the weather 10,000 years ago, 10,000 BC. They found that there were heavy rains, and what is now desert was a lush landscape, more like grass and yeah, like in Africa, bushes, trees, and more kind of tropical environment. So that was that, and then many other things came, and it was like they, my spirit guides, the Elohim, they really like to send me on research journeys, and they don't tell me everything. They just give me a hint, and then they say go and research. And in the beginning, I was kind of grumpy about that because I wanted the solution, I wanted the end result, and they said, no, it's not working like that. You have to make your own journey. Otherwise, we would take away your epiphany moments, your aha moments when you really suddenly understand something very deeply. If we just give you the end result, the answer, you're missing the whole process. And it's about the process more than about the goal. So by the time I got that, and I started to enjoy my little research journeys, and because of my first own QHHT hypnosis that I experienced, where I was shown scenes from life in old Sumeria, going as a woman to a temple for initiations in old Sumeria. I got kind of curious about that, although it wasn't even my own memory from another life. It was told to me at the end of the hypnosis session, without being asked for, that this is only an imprint. Means it's kind of a blueprint. A soul, when it incarnates and want to do special missions or tasks or whatever, or experience something, the souls always download some blueprints from other souls that already made this to have some kind of orientation in their whole microcosmic system. So this wasn't even my incarnation, but I was shown a very vivid scene in an initiation temple in old Sumeria. So I went researching that, and of course I stumbled across the whole story of the Anunnaki coming down from heaven and giving all this knowledge about agriculture, starting civilization, mathematics, astronomy, astrology, music, architecture, and everything you need to build a civilization. And in their old cuneiform tablets, the Sumerians wrote down that they got this knowledge from the Anunnaki that came from heaven to earth. So it wasn't their achievement. They were kind of gifted with the presence of civilizations, the gifts of that, more or less. So that was kind of clear that we were interfered and by people that came from the sky, from space or somewhere else. And they weren't the first. When I look back and just look at these petroglyphs, the drawings on stones in Australia, the very well-known ones are the heads of the Wandjina, and if you look at them, they look like kind of triangular shaped faces or heads with big eyes, nearly no nose and no mouth, and no visible ears. And as I looked at them, the first impression was, and as a medium, you always work with the first impression before the mental comes to interfere and doubt and criticize or whatever. The first impression was like I was a kid and looking at these cliche ghost pictures, you know. If you pull over a white cloth of linen from your bed and you make two holes and a third for the mouth, then you can play the ghost like in some of the old-fashioned movies about ghost stories. So that was one impression, that they looked like ghosts. And the second impression I could only have because now we have words for that. I thought, well, and the same thing is, it's looking like a so-called grey with a triangular head and the big almond-shaped eyes. The old Australians, the forefathers, they did not have a word like that. So they called them the Wanjinas, whatever this may mean. That would be another path to research the meaning of words, is also very interesting because there's often something hidden in there. And so I made all kinds of journeys and found all kinds of things, and they told me history is wrong. All that you think you know is wrong. Well, if you get it that generalized, then it's not really touching deeply. But in some special cases where I had my own connections, because I was always kind of interested in archaeology, there it really struck me that all the books we have are telling different things and not the truth. And another thing happened. They told me kind of in subordinate clauses where you normally don't listen that well. They said, "Oh dear, you don't even know in which time you live." And I went, "Hey? What? What do you mean? Can you please explain?" And they said, "Go and research calendars." And I never ever did that before. I mean, everybody uses the calendar to mark your appointments and the dentist and whatever. And when I started researching the calendars, oh my God, you won't believe it. I found that we work nowadays with some kind of, it's called the Gregorian calendar, that was made up by the Romans in the Roman Empire. And they had even a phase when they had a Julian calendar from the Julius Caesar, from the Caesars. They also mixed with and messed with the calendar. And then I found the more ancient calendars, which were kind of divided into a moon calendar and a sun calendar. And we have this crazy calendar where every month has different days, some 30, some 31, and February only 28, and we have 12 months. But if you follow the moon calendar, which makes much more sense, then you have 13 months. And if you add these 13 months with 28 days, you come up with the number 364. So to the sun calendar with 365 days, there's only one day missing. And you don't need this every 4 years, put some more days into another month and all this crazy stuff. So I thought, well, why did they change that? And the funny thing is, even with how we count, I mean, the year zero, it's just, we say this is the year zero, and from now on we count from before Christ and after Christ. And the historians even are not quite sure about Jesus's birth. They say it might have been around the year zero, but we just took this one year as the point zero, and from there on we start to count. So it's all made up, and it's not the true thing. So I was kind of shocked, and I went on my journey with some other things, like I told you that in my remote viewing experience, I was on a different planet, and I noticed that because I suddenly, during the remote viewing experience, I had to look up into the sky, and I saw that there were two suns in the sky. And we only know of one sun in our solar system, so I started looking into astronomy and found that a single sun in a singular sun system is very, very rare. The common in the universe is a binary star system with two souls, or even two suns, or even a trinary sun system or solar system with three suns. And I wanted to find out whether maybe they already found some systems with two suns, and maybe I can find this special planet where I was during my remote viewing exercise. But I couldn't find it. I only found a lot of binary star systems. And I started thinking about it, and then I heard them say, "You are not living in a singular sun system. Your sun also has a twin, or had a twin." And then I found that some of the astronomers were speculating because of the gravitational forces that are tearing on the planets, and we don't have circular orbits of the planets around the sun. There are more or less elliptical, and that already shows that some kind of gravity force is tearing on the orbits of the planets. And even just 1.0 less from a circular orbit is called elliptical, because it's already a little bit off from the perfect circle orbit. So I couldn't find the planet where I was while I remote viewed, but I found a lot of star systems that are binary. And I started thinking about our own star system, and found other people saying that we have a second sun, which is kind of a failed star, they call it. This is a brown dwarf, which is not making the same journey or development like our sun, that is a yellow dwarf, is going or taking. And that was very interesting. So I found out more or less, really, they are right. Everything I thought I knew is wrong. And so I'm starting anew and fresh now to learn the real things. And this is what I wanted to share with you, to have a different look at reality, because even that well-known agency with many letters, I like word games and playing with words, and I really loved it when I heard the first time someone saying NASA is just never a straight answer. And I think they know much more than they do tell us. So I just want to encourage you, go on your own journey, whatever is of interest for you. Start researching and have your own journey and epiphany moments to find some different viewpoints or other truths or whatever, just get a different viewpoint because it's not as it seems. That was also one of the sentences they sucked me with, because there came like these old sayings from people. Nothing is as it seems. Yes, I found out that's true. And some other things, not everything that's glowing is gold or is light, and so on. So there's much more to our reality than we know, and than we are taught or instructed about. So I wish you all the best. Have a good and blessed time, and go to your own journey, research things that interest you, and find different viewpoints. Thank you very much for listening and for watching. Be blessed on your soul path. Thank you. Goodbye.